Welcome to the Life Well Led podcast. We are your co-hosts, Karen and Eric. Karen, how are you today?
I am so excited that we are finally doing this.
I know we've been talking about this for so long, and now look at us. We're podcast hosts.
I know. It's kind of weird.
Kind of. I think it was not so much the will and desire to do it that took a while. It was finding the name for this. Oh my goodness.
If you want to start a podcast, or if you ever think you might want to start a podcast, I suggest let's secure your name today, because there's very few left that aren't already out there.
Seriously.
It took us a long time to get a name, but I feel like the one we found was absolutely perfect.
I love it. Life Well Led. Now, what does Life Well Led mean? Well, in order to tell you that, we have to tell you a story about us and how we got to where we are. Life Well Led is about individual journey, and then ultimately coaching is involved and leadership is involved, but it really starts with a personal journey and a personal story. So let's start with that. Where we got to where we are today and how we're doing this podcast began just shortly after we were married in late 2018.
Yeah.
Do you feel comfortable sharing your story on this?
Oh my gosh. Yes, of course. That's what we're here for.
Well, go for it.
This is like peek behind the curtain of our lives. We're going to share all the things that we can with you. So in early 2019, we just got married, and I just really hated myself. It was dark days. But on the outside, I had everything. I had the job. I had a great husband, just recently married, 2 great dogs, beautiful neighborhood we lived in. It was just like everything on the outside was so great, but I literally hated myself. I hated myself so much. I was so uncomfortable in my body. And it wasn't depression, but it was certainly concerning, and it was really impacting me. And so I started following a coach on Instagram who focused on women's wellness and weight loss and some of that. And so I'd been following her a couple months, and I just remember coming home one day from work, and I was so defeated. I was just like, and I'm an emotional eater too. So I came home, I got Chick-fil-A on my way home. I sat on the couch. I ate. I went to bed early. I cried myself to sleep. I was so sad with myself. And I woke up, and I was scrolling through Instagram, and one of her videos popped up, and it just spoke to me. And I was like, what do I have to lose? Like, sign up for the free consult, like have a conversation, figure out if this is something that's even feasible for you. And it was just like one of those, like, all of a sudden, like, I'd been following her for a long time, but all of a sudden it was just like, now, just do it now. And I signed up for the earliest call I possibly could. And like a day or two later, I'm on the phone with her. And it was a life-changing conversation. I was saying things out loud that I had never admitted to before. Saying, thinking like, I hate my body and I'm really uncomfortable. And that's one thing to like keep it in your mind, but to actually like say it out loud, it just is like, oh my gosh, like, how did I let it get this bad kind of realization. And I got off the call, and I was like, Eric, I know it's a lot of money. I don't care whether or not I have to give up Starbucks and going out to eat and every leisure thing. I'm going to completely change my life. I want this more than anything. Please, 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 please support me. And I was like waiting for him to be like, absolutely not. That's a ridiculous amount of money. And he was like, okay.
No, I mean, look, Karen is not, she's never done therapy before, never been that kind of person or needed it. And this was about as close as it got to a cry for help. And, I knew she wasn't happy, but I didn't realize to what extent and to what she was willing to share.
Yeah.
And I mean, I didn't have a problem with it. I said, we'll make it work. And, we weren't making nearly as much as we were now. And we just sort of figured it out.
Yeah. Yeah. And so that led me on a 10-month journey through coaching, where it started off with, I want to lose weight. And really what I found out was that I really wanted confidence in myself, and I wanted to love myself, and I wanted to expand on that and figure out what that is and step into that place. And when I did that and I started the transformation, it was like a snowball effect. It was like losing the weight, 70 pounds, just started working on the financial issues that we had. I mean, student loans, all the things, like there was so much entangled in that, started working on ourselves, myself, really, really stepping into the best version of myself. And it was life transforming. It was absolutely life transfer.
Yeah.
I feel like when I started, and by the time I finally stopped working with that coach, because I felt like I got this. I can do this. I am unstoppable in this moment. And it was absolutely an incredible experience.
Oh my gosh. I mean, night and day difference. Not like you weren't a great person already. And I mean this in the nicest way possible. Your compassion and empathy went through the roof
Yeah.
with my own struggles with mental health, and I have a history of them. You were always good about it as we were getting closer to marriage. And then now it was like night and day difference,
Yeah.
helping me through stress at my job with, you know, some even simple things like how to reframe thoughts and what's another way to look at this. You
Mhm.
know, I'm not good at this, but, and then we did the
Oh
butt
yeah, the
exercise,
butt exercise.
the,
I forgot about
the
that.
butt
It was
exercise.
the butt exercise. I feel like it's like, let's say, give me something that you would say.
I'm just not happy with my work right now.
But
If I keep working at it, I'll find a way to get happy again
oh gosh, we did that all the time.
all the time. But you know what the biggest help was? And this was like, I just hated the industry I was in. We were going on 6 years in this same industry in insurance. And she had me like lay on the bed, close my eyes, and come up with my perfect day of what I would want my day to look like. So really identifying not necessarily how to get there, but what would it look like once you were there. And that was eye opening.
Mm,
It was eye opening. It really helped me understand what I wanted to do. And it got me the idea of what are you best at? What do you enjoy about your job the most, kind of thing. But mostly just what do you enjoy doing that you
mhm.
would be able to do the rest of your life? And what would your day look like? So it was a mixture of what your job would be and what your lifestyle would be.
Yeah.
And, it led me to where we are today.
Yeah. Yeah, it led you on a path to wanting to actually be a coach because you wanted to make transformation in your life. You wanted the freedom to go and travel and work from home and do the things that you want to do, and coaching was really that avenue for you.
Yeah, and that's all very important, but the most important thing was I wanted to help people.
Yeah.
I really wanted to see the direct effect of being the kind, compassionate, and empathetic person that I am, and using good listening skills to create a living out of. Didn't know that that was a thing, except for potentially being a therapist, but understanding that a good coach does all of those things is why I did it.
Mhm.
So fast forward a couple years, it's 2021, towards the end of the year as well, and I have a anxiety and depression fueled breakdown. I leave work for 30 days on leave of absence, and kind of explore what I want to do. And I started realizing, well, I can go one of two ways that I really would feel most fulfilled: being a therapist or being a coach. Therapy didn't make sense in the sense that even though I wanted to be a mental health advocate, okay, but it was expensive, it limited where I could go, and it limited my time and how I wanted to run a practice. Coaching offered a similar sense of helping, more freedom on every other avenue that I wanted, as far as cost, as far as practice goes, as far as lifestyle goes. And I wanted to take that as seriously as possible. There are a lot of, variances in coaching as far as who can call themselves a coach. There's not really a regulated industry, but she had a great coach. So clearly there were great coaches out there. And that's what I wanted to be, was a great coach, because I would take it as seriously as if I went to, my master's program for it. So what happened is at the end of 21 into early 22, I quit my job, retired from insurance, and worked a part-time job until I eventually started a program at IPEC called the Institute for Professional Excellence in Coaching. I treated that like it was school. I did it full time. I started my business after the first, 30-hour module. Which was nuts to think
Crazy.
about, that all
Yeah.
that happened in just 30 days time, right?
Hmm.
But it just, wow, I took off from there in terms of my mindset. The business didn't really take off until the next year, and that's okay. I was really focusing on getting everything else done. But getting the education part done really changed my mindset and really changed my life. Now, granted, I also went back to therapy. I found a therapist that I actually liked and all of that. I really did a year of self-improvement in 22, but this was a huge step
Hmm.
in how I changed. And I think you can attribute that, going through the program and coaching, not just for business purposes, but for my personal, development was a major change in the way I operate and how I live my life. And I think for both of us, coaching really improved our marriage dramatically. Even though it was already great, it just got even better.
Yeah. And seeing you and being able to help you. I'd started businesses before, but really being on your journey, I think was the catalyst to me being like, okay, I also want to learn this. Like when he talked about the exercise where I made him, go through the perfect day, like that was just something that I had picked up and I wanted to learn how to actually use the skills and know the skills and be confident in what I was doing and um not just pretending that I knew what coaching was. So it was really through you and the successes of your business and seeing you thrive and step into this where I was like, okay, like if I'm going to serve him and help him grow this business, then I too need to grow and expand. And that's why I decided to go and get the same certificate and go through the same program and just finishing that now. But um we use coaching every single day.
Every single day we do. It doesn't really matter what the topic is, whether it's business. As a leadership and executive coach, I'm using it in my business all the time when I talk to clients, but using it at home, it's about life as well.
Hmm.
It's at the end of the day, life coaching is like the inner core of all coaching that you do. It's about how you change your mindset, and how to, handle your emotions and choosing how you want to respond. And
Yeah.
that was a big thing. So we do that every single day, whether it's understanding conversations um, on a different level, whether it's getting us out of a stressful, self-defeating or defensiveness, and trying to look at it from a higher perspective of how do we really want to approach it. It just makes a huge difference in how we operate every single day and what our goals are, and it keeps us moving forward. And I think, dare we say, it's helped influence others around us too, which is really why I want to be a coach and why I think we both have this attraction towards coaching, because it's a great tool to help people live a better life.
Yeah, I absolutely, 100%. It's hard when you're like a magnet. Like when things are going and life is moving forward and you're just like killing it and you're just loving life and you just elevate to this new level. People are like, "What are you doing? What are you on? Like how can I get some of that?" And so yeah, absolutely. I think it just raises the level of the people around you too. And you just can't help. I mean, when you're a coach, it's in our DNA. We have to be able to help people. I can't if somebody is struggling, I can almost now identify pretty clearly what the issue is and ask them an empowering question that's going to help them try to reframe so that it doesn't feel so uncomfortable for them. But that's really what a life well led means is, it starts as a personal journey. It starts as that individual journey, every single person, and then just watching as you go through your journey how that so impacts the people around you.
It's a snowball effect. It
Yeah.
really is. A life well led really starts with you. It starts with how you lead yourself, because leading is not, it's a choice, but even non-action is a choice. You're doing it whether you're conscious of it or you're doing it by default, right? So when you're conscious of your leadership in yourself and how you lead your life, that is what the snowball effect is all about. Is that when you do that, it affects your immediate circle, it affects your friends, and ultimately people at work. It's a lot of work. It is a lot of work. It takes a lot of effort, and there's trials and tribulations to it. But when you start really getting it, a life well led is all about leading your life so that you can help lead others as well. If you buy into the idea that leadership is an activity, not a position, then the activity is that anybody can lead anytime, anywhere, and you can create other leaders based on your leadership potential within yourself to then be able to lead others.
Yeah. And so I guess, kind of wrap it up here. I think we don't have all the answers. We're just
Not at
two
all.
very normal people who love coaching and have tapped into this higher potential for ourselves. And I guess really we hope that this podcast, A Life Well Led, sheds a little bit of light on that, shares our experiences, maybe even inspires others to do the same, gives you the opportunity to learn and grow and truly, truly step into your full potential so that you are living a life of abundance and purpose and everything you were put on earth to do.
Absolutely. Couldn't have said it better myself. Thank you.
Awesome.
Well, that is the Life Well Led podcast, episode 1. Thank you so much for joining us, everybody. We will see you next time.